Hi everyone, it's Alexis Lane with PTSD, the wives side. I wanted to do another video because for the past 5 months since this January 1st of 2020 has been a very, very crazy year. And I've been doing a lot of research about how quarantine and the COVID-19 has had an effect on not only our combat veterans, but also us as the family members. And I've read many statistics, and it's frightening and it's scary what all is going on and how much we need to be talking about this. How important it is to recognize that while the risk of our combat veterans with PTSD is astronomically huge, with 22 veterans a day committing suicide, also the risk of their families being harmed in a certain way, whether it's emotionally, financially, stability of a family, or physically harmed. But then you throw into the fact that you're quarantined. And I was reading many news articles from the VA and different veteran outlets of veterans saying, it's hard not knowing what I'm allowed to do, what I can do, what I can't do. It's hard having my freedoms taken away. I went and I signed up. I signed that dotted line, and I fought for my country. And now they're telling me I can't even leave, my house. And one thing it didn't speak about is the effect that it's having on us as the family members. And again, like I say in every video, I'm by no means trying to take away from the veterans in any way. But I am here to be the person who's speaking out about the other side, because a lot of times the families are not spoken about. And I went back and reviewing a lot of my older videos, and also testimony from other, wives and women and family members, and also reviewing my just all of my documentation that I've spent years on. And I came across something that really resonates right now for all of us, and that is isolation. And that was in one of my videos, and I spoke about how identifying PTSD in your veteran, and the first one was depression, especially if it's linked with isolation and the other symptoms of PTSD. And I was just watching that video going, wow, that really like struck a nerve in me. And I was like, oh God, this has to be an enormously hard time for so many of us. And I know for myself included, because when I spoke in my video about isolation, it was about the veteran isolating themselves away from their family or their friends, especially civilian friends, because the civilian friends don't understand, what they went through. But also because the civilian friends, a lot of them don't want to hear about it. And there are a lot of our family members that feel that way also. They don't want to hear about what our combat veteran did at war. But now imagine, which I know you can, that you're stuck inside with a person that wants to isolate themselves, not only from their friends, but maybe from you also. And that has got to be extremely hard. I know it is. I know it is very hard and aggravating and scary, especially because this is starting of the month to where I know a lot of combat veterans start I call it the cycling of PTSD, where they go about 3 months total, just 3 months straight, and then they'll go a couple months not, and then they'll start again with another 3 months of cycling. But May is about the time when a lot of veterans that I know, and I've been documenting and collecting data on for nearly a decade, that they start their 3-month cycle of flashbacks of everything pissing them off, of reminders, and just nothing but just everything agitates them, just on edge all the time, nonstop. And this happens starting in May for a majority of those that I know. That's got to be even harder because now you're stuck inside. But not only that, you have veterans who are saying, screw that. I fought for my country. I should be told if I'm allowed to go to the grocery store. I should be told where I can go walk. I should be allowed, not have to be told is what I meant. I should be allowed to go out past, quote, curfew. Here in Columbia, South Carolina, we have a curfew of 11 p.m. I should be able to go to any grocery store. If I want to buy a gun, I can. And especially here in the South, everyone's been buying up ammo and guns and everything, and they're out of stock so much. And also, even going into Sportsman's Warehouse, they ask you, are you here to buy ammunition or a firearm? And if you are, then they turn you around at the door. And I've watched a lot of veterans stomp back to their trucks and their cars, shaking their head, saying, screw this. I fought for my freedom for this. But then you also have a lot of veterans who might be afraid. I think we're all afraid a bit. But you also have a lot of veterans who might be spiraling in different ways, as in drinking, drugs, gambling, and now you're having to be at home with that person who spirals off of things that you might not understand, but you don't want to be around them when they're doing this because it's too dangerous. Your life might be at risk and your family's as well. And I cannot stress enough that you need to have a plan. Because while this may seem, and again, in South Carolina, a lot of the rules and regulations and stipulations of where we can go and what we can do and when we can do it has been taken away. Those have been lifted. But in a lot of states, they have not. And we also know that we're being told that this will come back again this year, and we'll probably be quarantined again this year. And who knows about next year. So during this time, I need for you to understand and take this seriously. You need to have a plan. Big time plan. And I mean, if your husband gets mad at you and takes your car keys away, have a spare made. If your husband gets mad and takes your phone away, have a backup phone. They're very, very cheap. You can buy them at Walmart for $25 and you get a $20 or so plan. Trust me, I'm poor. That's as much as I could afford. And it lasted all month and I was able to do that. You also need to have a backup plan for bank accounts. If he has access to your credit cards or debit cards, cash, your safety deposit box, if you have safes in your house that you keep, maybe your jewelry that is worth not just money, might be worth something to you, but I'm talking about a plan to where you're going to have to get out ASAP. If you don't have a car, you need to have a plan about who will pick you up, what you need to say that will not throw him off or alert him that you're trying to get away. You need to have a backup plan also with where your clothes are, a backup toothbrush, hair dryer, chargers. All of the things that you use every single day, you need to have 2 or 3 of, and they need to be hidden away in a place that he will never find them. Find a friend, find a family member. You don't have to explain it. Just say, listen, I need you to trust me right now. I need for you to hold these things for me. I don't have the energy. I don't have the emotional capacity. I don't even have the brain power to explain to you why I need this, for you to do this for me, but listen to me. This is life or death. I will explain it to you one day, but right now I can't hear you tell me your advice about what to do, how to do it, about being at home with my combat veteran who is spiraling because of being quarantined. And I don't want to have to tell you about the emotional abuse, the physical abuse, the horrible things. I don't have time for that. Please hold on to this stuff. I'm going to be texting you from a new number because I just got a backup phone, it's a throwaway phone. When I text you this, certain bananas, pineapple, 911, I need you at my house ASAP. Now, don't feel guilty by giving your friend or family member this. Don't look at it as a burden. It's not a burden for them to save you. And I'm being so truthful and very forward about this because this is happening and this is serious. Have a plan. Backup keys, backup cards, backup friend, backup family member, everything that you can imagine. If you have children with you, have all of that also. It doesn't mean you're leaving, okay? It does not mean you're leaving your combat veteran. But this is the very, very heightened time right now to where if you're already maybe in an emotional, verbal, mental, physically abused marriage, relationship, anything, this is 20 million times more because they're spiraling. If we're spiraling, they're spiraling. If civilians are spiraling, they're spiraling. And I need you to listen to what I'm saying because there's going to be a point if you are in that, if that marriage, if this is resonating to you to where kind of like, wow, that does sound like my marriage. That does sound like my relationship. That does sound like my children's father who has my children right now, but I can only get them, once a week because of the quarantine. Have a plan. And you need to be going somewhere where he will not be able to find you. And it's not forever. It's just for this time. So please understand that. I've been there, done that. I don't want to have to leave. I kept thinking, I love him. I don't want to leave. That's not what this is. This is not a, hey, I'm your friend who doesn't know anything about what you're going through. So I'm going to say, why don't you just leave him? That's not what this is. This is very, very certain circumstances that we did not see coming. If you all are scientists or tracking global pandemics, you might have, but I know majority of us did not see this coming, so of course we're not prepared, but you need to have a second and third plan, and you need to do it now, because this isn't going to get better. And while I'm a very, very optimistic person, I'm naive in very many things, even at the age of 31, get a plan. Like I said, I hope that you are all okay, but I know a lot of you are not. This is not you leaving. This is just taking a step away during this time. Now, the other side of it is those of you who can't leave, right? You can't call your friend. You can't get in the car and go anywhere. That's when, I don't know, I've had to do this a couple times where I jump out a window and run and leave. And I have my backup bags somewhere, and phone and keys and cards. And I don't know what it's like in your states actually, because in South Carolina, everything it's always been normal during all of this basically. Other states, I know that they're saying that they can't go anywhere, but friends that I'm in contact with, they're like, that's not really the case. So I don't know how true it is that you cannot leave. If there's a room that you can get yourself or you and your children into, do that. Of course, police officers, I was speaking with one the other day, and he said domestic abuse is at its all-time high. If you have, I don't even want to say it, you have to protect yourself, you have to protect your children. And I think we all know what I'm saying. If you can lock yourself in a room, if you can call 911, if you do lock yourself into a room, say that he goes onto a rampage, whether it's just because he's having flashbacks, or it's because of drinking, it's because of drugs, it's because he's cooped up inside and just can't take it anymore and mentally can't do it, Have a phone, that backup phone, into a room that you know you're going to be able to lock yourself into, that you know he will not be able to find it in that room. Always have it in that room. Have something to defend yourself in that room. Have your backup phone in that room. If you have your children, have them in that room. Have backup hidden snacks, bottled water, things like that. You just think about absolute end of the world type thing, and you're trying to defend yourself against a zombie, if that makes sense. I know that's not really a proper way to compare, but think about that, because this is very, very serious. And like I said, this might be coming to an end right now, and countries are opening up and states are opening up and everyone's going to go quote back to normal. But from all of the data, and not just the media, but all of the data and everything that I have been reading, this is going to come back again this year, at the end of this year, in the fall or early winter, and we're going to go back to being quarantined. So that might give you enough time, again, not to leave, to have a backup plan. 2 or 3, 4, 5 at most. Gives you time to be able to save up to get a couple, throwaway phones, spare keys, copies of your car keys, a plan in place with family or friends, and tell them, listen, I don't want to explain right now. Just trust me. If I need you, this is what I need, and this is how it's going to happen. If nothing ever happens, maybe I'll tell you about it someday. If something does happen, I don't need any questions. I just need response, and I need it fast. You don't have to tell them not to call the police, because if you don't want them to go to jail, then that's completely understandable. It could just be that they're yelling and you're afraid. So have that backup plan with that friend. Tell them, don't call the police unless I say to call the police. Which then you should call the police and not have your friend have to do it. But have your friend on the way if you have to call the police. Point is that explain it to your friends, but not in depth. You don't have to do that. Especially not right now. Especially with the fact that you have to come up with a plan. Just tell them, if I need the police, I'll call them. If not, I'm going to send you 911. Here's my backup number for my backup phone. And I need you here. A lot of you also might be thinking, well, I don't want to put my friend into that situation if I'm that afraid. That's why you have to have another backup plan of how to get the hell out of that house. Or I'm in a condo on the second story. I've had to jump multiple times. Think about it, plan it out. Always have your things in a room that he will not know that is there. You don't want him to go and find it, especially if he's angry and cycling. I'm sorry to be very forward about it all, but this isn't the time to be nice and to sugarcoat anything. This is the time for you to seriously have a plan. Again, I'm reiterating, you do not have to explain yourself to anyone. Just say, one day I'll tell you. But just know, when I need you, you have to be there. I love you all, and I hope you're all being safe. I know these are very, very, very uncertain times, which we keep hearing nonstop, even on commercials, but it's the truth. The one thing you can be certain about is your plan. And that's what you need to do for yourself and for your family. Doesn't mean that your husband or significant other is a monster, but during these times, they can be. And you have to be able to guard yourself against them. I hope to talk to you all soon. I hope that this helps. If you need any other information or advice, please, please, please write me. Subscribe below so that we can get more and more videos out there to more people during these times that need it. Please share this video with all the people that you know, because we all know someone who is with a combat veteran who may be in life and death situations right now. I hope that you all are going to remain safe. And again, if you have any questions or advice for other significant others who are with combat veterans with PTSD, please comment below. Please share your personal stories, because it can literally save not just one, not just two, but 10s and 20 and 30 and 40 and hundreds of people's lives. We need to spread the word. And I hope that you all are going to be safe. And I cannot wait to be able to be out in the world again with all of you and get past this time of very scary, very, very scary events, not just with the virus, but with ourselves. Stay safe. Bye.